to grow. Now, start scaling that. If you want to be a billionaire in the next 20 years, and you can do a lazy 1.5 every month for the next 20 years, lands you into being a billionaire. But 1.5, if you multiply by 240 months, that lands you at about 400. The other 600 is brought in by the element of time. Because you can put it in a lazy instrument, earning you 5%. I'm talking about 5%, but right now, the lazy instruments, we have earning you 11%. But for 20 years, that 5% will bring you the 600 million. So, your age gives you that element of time. Now, if Barbara, she says she's 43, but imagine 23 years when she was 23. If she had, she wouldn't be here. She wouldn't be here. Talking to her, you'd have to talk to someone. But now she's here with us. But now, you have the element in the next 20 years. And that's one of the things she lives and breathes for you to be better than where she is. And all you have to employ is time. Don't be in a rush. And let me just conclude this. Don't be in a rush. Don't be in a rush. Money. Get into the patience of money. Money, wealth creation is the patient game. Let me finish with this, and I promise. These stories of people, he has talked about career and then you are dropped. I use this story and I hate to use it, but I keep using it. We have a former governor, not deputy, a former governor of Bank of Uganda who has no house right now. He was a prime minister, he was an MP for 30 years, getting over 30 million. But right now we are talking, he has no house. Just Google Right Honorable Henry Kashura and you see the story.
Thank you. All of us have been sharing the good things we did in our financial literacy journey. But I would like you, Alan, to share right now, if you looked back or if you had the chance to speak to your 25-year-old self, what are some mistakes you made and what advice would you give yourself before I get back to Barbara?
I think while I was at university, that's when I started trying to save, right? And there were a number of mistakes. I'll tell you. I started saving, investing. I ate the money, I drank the money, I partied. Even when I reached a point where I would say I've stopped drinking. I had this cousin brother of mine who was an expatriate, and whenever he was in town, drinks were on the house. Now, it's easier to say I've stopped drinking when you're not spending. It is hard when they are sponsoring. Are we together? So I would break let me call it a fast, right? So I would say I've stopped drinking because I didn't want to spend. So then he comes, order everything you want. Now, after he has gone back, after that 1 week, I go to my savings. I drink all of them. Then I have to start afresh. You understand? So one of the regrets, of course, I regret not starting early. But again, I don't think I should be living in that mindset. There are a number of mistakes I have made. Now, I will tell you one of the biggest things that people fear to do when they are saving is to invest. People fear to lose money. Now, if you really want to make money, let me give you a trick. You must get comfortable with losing money. Now, that doesn't sound fun, right? But you must get comfortable with losing money, right? I will tell you, unless you're able to lose money and enough of it, then you're not going to get good enough profit. Now, there are two types of investors. There will be the safe and that investor who wants to make sure that very safe investments. You're going to arrive at your destination maybe a few years later. Now, you're also going to have those other investors like myself who, I'll tell you, when I used to measure my growth. You see, this was my attitude towards loss. I measured my growth by the losses I made, not only by the profit I made. So, because sometimes when you look at the loss you're making, it's scary to make the next investment. Not so? But you must switch your mindset towards loss. Not that you want loss. Do you understand? You must do everything possible to make sure you don't lose money. But when you lose it, because as an investor you're going to lose money. Do you understand? When you lose it, you must move. You must continue moving. Are we together? Now I want to address something that you talked about school fees and these expenses that seem like they are that are not going to go away. When I had finished university, I was fortunate that I found a mentor. And my mentor, one of the first things they told me, Alan, do not get into the habit of paying school fees for people yet. Now, I told you, saving and investment is sacrifice. You must be willing, you must be so uncomfortable with poverty that you're willing to go to war with it. You know what I mean? Going to war means losing things. I want you to imagine when our president went to the bush. Do you think it was comfortable? It had to cost quite a bit. I'm sure they ate things, they did things, they look back and they even wonder up to now. Do you understand? But that's what sacrifice means. Now, this is a particular war that is in your house, that is in yourself. You must go to war with your state of poverty. You can't be comfortable with it. What that means is that there is no excuse leadership. You're not going to be giving yourself any excuse at any cost if you want it that badly. What does that mean? My mentor told me that, Alan, when I was trying to make it, he had started buying a car, and he said he was from such a very poor family that when his mother crossed the border with the clothes she was wearing, they prayed that she came back in one piece. Why? Because that cloth is what they used to cover themselves. Now, when this guy, now imagine you're from that family, your siblings are having children left, right, and center because they're in the village. And then he buys his first car for tour business. For business. And then the relatives say, you've made it. They start trying to bring their children for you to look after them. You understand? He told me I had to make a cautious decision. I said no to them. They abused me. They started telling things like, who will bury you? Can you imagine how personal those kinds of things are? From your own relatives? Because you look, it seems like you're bad, you're mad. But you know what he told me that opened my eyes? He said that I refuse to look after those children. But today, this is in 2011. He said, today I pay school fees for 125 children. He refused to pay fees for 5 or 10 children. He sacrificed 10 for the sake of 125 later. But the reason he told me to sacrifice that was because he had to make sure his business is sustainable, is able to sustain itself before he can take on that responsibility. Are we together? Sacrifice. And today I can tell you, he looks after much more. He pays school fees for maybe 500 children. Do you understand? Why? If he had not sacrificed the 5, the 10, which seemed like a bad thing. Not so. Today, he's looking after 500 and more. His business is employing 100 plus. He's paying how much in taxes? Do you understand? Delay a certain expenditure. Do not, the thing that I got was, unless it is going to lead to your death, unless a person is going to die, then you can break the principle. Do you understand? So the first question you must ask yourself is, are you going to die if you don't go to school? No. Or at least get one person. We must be radical about this poverty. Otherwise, you're not going to get out of it. I can tell you, the whole system is designed to keep you poor. That's the fact. Do you understand? The whole system, even your own relatives, they are designed to keep you in poverty.
I agree.
Only yourself and the decisions you take can get you out of it. And you must be radical with those decisions. No one else is going to get you out. not government, not your husband when you get married, not your father, not your mother. You're going to get stuck, and it will be generational. Therefore, if you want to switch the generation from poverty to wealth, you must go back to Luwero for those 5 years of NRA. Do you understand? That's what it costs. Even if you're living in a certain level of comfort, even if you think 1 million is money or 200,000, you must go back to Luwero. Get uncomfortable now. That's the advantage. Let me tell you, it's so hard to do these things at her level or at her age. Do you understand? I want you to think about it that way. You are at an advantage. You do not have maybe a wife, a husband, certain expenses. It is harder where you're headed. Because you're going to get a wife, you're going to get children. When you get those ones, their expenses you cannot do away with. Isn't it? You must pay rent, you must pay school fees. Those cannot be cut out. So why not start now? Why not make yourself uncomfortable now for a better? Isn't it? It's so easy. If I tell you to become uncomfortable for 5 years to live a lifetime of happiness, why would you want to remain uncomfortable for your lifetime? Yet you can sacrifice 5 years. And yet it won't take 5 years. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alan. For those of us that have gotten into battle with poverty, I'm sure you have questions. So prepare your questions. I'm going to have one more question for Barbara. Then we'll take all the questions from the audience at once and have them answered at once. Sounds good? Okay. Barbara, you are in the space of empowering women, sharing opportunities that can develop them. What are some of the opportunities that you have that these young people can take use of in their journey of financial literacy? Or are there any pathways that you could recommend for as far as financial improvement is concerned that we could take advantage of?
Oh, thank you. I thought I was going to answer the other question, but let me get into this because I know time is gone. Where are my ladies in the house? Where are my ladies in the house? Yes. Ladies, let us have a candid chat right now. We should stop being victims of circumstance. I can tell you right now, with all the spaces we're in, where we actually give debt, let me now talk from a banking perspective. We only get 30% women that approach banks. 30%. Yet you young women make up almost 60% in the SME sector in this country. Then you're the ones crying, Tebatufako. Naturally, we are incubators. It is in our nature. That is one thing men don't have. We know what it means to incubate, to create life. Why don't we use what we have internally, externally? So what is stopping a lot of women is mindset. And unfortunately, we also have culture. We have taboos of culture. But that cannot be an excuse to move to a certain point that you need to move to. My cry to the young ladies is be bold and be loud and tell us what it is you need, not want, you need. The issues that we face is not because you do not know what to do. You do, but you don't say it. And for me, that is the biggest challenge. You do not say it. Let's be bold enough. If I know there's a Barbara in the financial sector that can help me along this path, reach out to her. If I don't pick up the phone, call me so many times. I'm not going to give you what you need to do now. But I am telling you, until you stand up and tell me you need my help, I won't help you. And these are the challenges we are facing. Even as women in my age, those who even sit in the boardroom, we keep what? Quiet. You find a CEO earning 80 million as a guy, and the woman in that same position is earning 60. What is the problem? You're doing exactly the same thing. So for me, where we are concerned as young women, or as women, the asses who are up there, is until you tell us what it is you need, not want, then we can actually help you get there. Matters of money, ladies, is something we do not want to talk about. We don't even learn about it. When we're talking about money markets, it is the guys that always get in the conversation. The women are all keeping quiet. Why? Knowledge is wealth. So as women, until we understand that, it becomes very difficult for us to understand money markets. However, the young women of today, on a positive, I am seeing that at least that trajectory is starting to change, but we are not loud enough. So that's what I would say. Be bold, be loud, and let us know what it is that you need.
Thank you so much, Barbara. Those who have had have had. Any questions? We'll take all the questions at once and have them answered at once. Bruno, I need help moving the mic, please. Please introduce yourself and ask your question.
Sorry about that. Hello everyone, my name is Marjorie Nantambi. I'm a personal growth and finance coach. And I just want to commend the panel. Thank you so much for reminding us, because with finances it's a daily reminder. Now just to add something small, it's not actually a question, just to affirm what you've been sharing, and it has worked for me. I got on this journey of financial literacy and handling my money, and I came up with a journal, a financial journal that helps people track their money. So we have an assignment from Alan to track our expenses, and I have my financial journals to help you track your money, track your income, and your investments. Thank you. Thank you. I have them in the booth. They're only 50,000. Yes, you can reach out to me after this and you get one.
Okay, thank you very much, dear panelists. I'm Drona Andrew Bibi. I happen to be a marketeer from Goldmine Finance Limited. Mr. Alan Kayeba, thank you for the good presentation. Now my question is here. At what point do you take a decision to quit employment and channel into? You get my point, because you've been under employment, you believe you have saved, you have accumulated, let's say, your K20, and you're now contemplating between, do I step out, do I start while still here? At what point do I take that decision? Thank you very much.
Would you like your question to go to a particular panelist, or it's open?
I would take it to Mr. Alan Tayo.
I thought so too. Yes, please.
Good evening. My name is Alex Neo. I'm an entrepreneur. And I'm an entrepreneur with a bias in microfinance and laundry, just like Alan. My question goes out to two panelists. That will be you, who's lived in the US, and maybe Alan as well. We are plagued by black tax. I'm sure some of you know what black tax is. And you living in the US, you've probably seen a lot of that prevalent because of social injustices and post-slavery messes. Those in South Africa have seen one appetite because, well, black tax found its way into our African countries as well, and we find ourselves lifting the burden of our families on our shoulders, especially when you're trying to evolve as a young person or you're trying to make it. I'm seeking their opinion on how far you can engage in black tax, because I'm quite aware it can encumber your savings culture if you find yourself carrying the load of your family on your shoulders, considering we hail from community-based societies, and there's the need to be empathic and take care of so-and-so. You grew up with your cousins, you grew up in a home where you don't even know who that person is, and that culture seems to be spilling into our generation. So I'm seeking I'm borrowing your brains on how much one can engage in black tax. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question.
Or in between.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Guys, well done with the presentation. I'm so happy I'm here. I'm Femias. I'm an information security professional. And my question is almost related to his, and it goes to you, Barbara. I'm not aware if you're married or not, but I'm sure you have had relationships and stuff. So, or situation, whatever it is, I don't know. I want to bring it to you so you can just share with us how to bring up these conversations in terms of, in relationships. Someone you are not maybe in a stable relationship with, or you are trying to discover them without making them uncomfortable, or them thinking that you're money-minded. You want to understand what's the relationship with money, how did they grow up with money, how do they spend, and it's a conversation. How do you get comfortable to bring up these conversations in relationships? And then also the transition bit of I've been single, I've been doing my thing, I'm on this journey, I've this investment, I have done this, I've bought this, I've done this. How do you share this information without making someone feel like you're showing off, or you want to overhype yourself, or without making them feel small? You would understand as a woman. So that kind of situation. Yeah, thank you.
I would request the other people that are going to ask questions, please make it brief. Use half a minute because we really don't have time. Thank you.
Half a minute is very hard, but I'll try my best. My name is Gava Loboa. I'm a construction professional, consultant, project manager. I work for a consultancy, but we also have a construction business, which I own with a couple of other colleagues. My question is quite simple, and I think it goes to all of you. As I understand, you may be entrepreneurs. When you're young, you want to try out a lot of things, right? You're fresh out of school, you do a lot of businesses, left, right, and center. And I would regard myself, though I'm a construction professional, I regard myself as, to an extent, a generalist. I like trying out lots of other things. I've done farming, I've done washing business, I've done things around doing tomatoes. My question is, at what point do you narrow down and then focus and say, okay, now I've done all this, I think I cannot be able to spread all this down into the future. I should now focus on these particular items. But that's a very critical question, because I'm aware that a rolling stone gathers no moss. So at what point do you focus? Is it an edge? Is it a particular point of in the business? That's my general question. Thank you.
Half a minute, guys.
Thank you very much. My name is Kwenda Emmanuel, officer, an entrepreneur, and the panelists, Alan, Apollo, and Barbara. Really appreciate it. Mine is a quick one. As a CEO of a company that has run since 2018, I believe that financial literacy is one of the things that I personally, I'm speaking from a personal experience. Some people can really do it, but some need accountability partners. So as me, I knew it that I have a weakness. When I have the money, I'll either spend it or give it to someone because I have a kind heart or something. So my question would be, if you're identifying, because I identified an accountability partner and it has really worked well for me. I always have my 50K, even if you come crying, I'll tell you I have 10 when I have my money somewhere and safe. So which principles to the people out here, what can you look out for if you're trying to identify an accountability partner when you have already identified your weakness towards finance? Yeah.
Thank you very much. My name is Humphrey Limbazi. I don't know if I am an entrepreneur or self-employed. Some of us assume we're running businesses, but we might be running us. I have a question in regards to, we live in times where we have young millionaires and billionaires, fast money. Someone comes, they buy an iPhone, they have 1 million followers, they are earning money. Someone comes up with some random application in his garage. All different ways of earning money. So the very many when era of fast cash, Bitcoin, and then your life changes. So how do we navigate these times where because Alan and I think Barbara mentioned how time grows money in one or another. But we don't have, yes, we have time, but we also don't have time. I want to go to Bali, I want to do all these things. So how do I, well, I'm still young. I might be 40, I can't be at the beach. Yeah? So now, where do you strike the balance? Especially in the times where we're in social media, there's that fast growth or fast, they get rich quick environment. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Dennis Gua Oscar. I'm a social entrepreneur. The girlfriends and boyfriends that we have nowadays greatly impress our characters with money. I, for one, have friends when they're in love, they do not need any advice on money. Yes? Until maybe now they want to borrow, that's when they come and now start having themselves down. I think I'll request Barbara to speak something about that, about love and money. Yes, in this age that we are in. Yes, love and money.
All right, thank you. We're first going to take this first batch of questions, then I'll only take one more batch, and then we'll wind up this session. We can start with Alan, then Apollo if you have any questions, and to Barbara.
Allow me to start because most of the questions are get to him and her. But I've picked out something. I just want to share this. And you'll also help, allow me to excuse myself a little slightly after that. When married, when you married, you go in the bush with, this is your question, but I want to give my piece about it. You go in the bush with your partner, or you go into the bush, then after look for a partner. Now, you remember something that was objective purpose? In everything, that is where we start from. Your objective will speak to you whether you need to get married or you need to do this alone and then get your partner. There is no blueprint. I, for one, personally, I got married at 26. When I finished university, my first university, I went back for another degree because the government could afford to pay me for another degree. So I stayed in school. And while I was finishing that degree, my wife now was also finishing her first degree. And we graduated in February, got married in August. Our rationale is we are partners. Everything we have done, we are partners. And in our home, this is how we run our things. I do the earning, she does the spending. Like, I focus on earning, she focuses on spending. I can't do both. She can't do both. And that is what works for us. So when you marry, that goes to your objective. For me, I knew if I needed to get far, I needed that person. And 12 years later, I mean, I am not regretting, and not even on the love part, but when you look at the business empire, we are not regretting. So that gave you go back to and ask yourself, when? Speaking also to the girlfriends, when? Speaking also to the people who bring up an uncomfortable conversation. One of the things, allow me to say this, but one of the things is make your specs about your spouse or your girlfriend or whatever. And one of those should be, if they are uncomfortable talking about money, cross them out. It's not your choice that you were born in poverty, but it's your choice to marry into poverty. So if someone is, even ignoring conversations that will advance you, even before you get committed. Cross them out. My opinion. When do you resign? Of course, he's looking for how many years you have guaranteed him to be. But when do you resign? And I want to speak, and please don't eat me up because I have a number of entrepreneurs here. Of course, we call them entrepreneurs, but entrepreneurs here. Not everyone is supposed to do business. I want you to quit that bit where you think I will never get rich working for someone. You are not working for someone, you are working for yourself. That's the thing. In this Uganda right now, there is a lady, according to the NSSF reports, the highest paid employee is a lady earning around 102 million per month. I want you to give me 10 businesses that make 102 million per month. And you tell me her and that business, who is getting to that goal. But what's the difference? By the way, she even has no masters. What's the difference between her and you? It is in the habits, it's in your attitudes, it's in your mindset. Every time you are working for something, you'll never get far. Me, I'm not good. Let me say this, and I don't want to be shy about it. Preach personal finance, preach financial literacy. My job, actually in my job, the word financial literacy is there, manager financial literacy. But I'm not resigning tomorrow. I'm not resigning in the 2 years. I'm not resigning in 10 years. Why? Because my focus, I have put my trajectory in there and I know who's going to do that business. That's why I have a partner who's doing that. Allow me to share this quick story. If you are not good at your workplace, if you are not delivering at your workplace, you have no business doing business. You are not a performer at your workplace. Then you want to go and side hustle. Uganda will side hustle business. But your main hustle has failed. Your main hustle has given you tools. They are guaranteeing you an income at the end of the month. But you have still, they haven't told you applied for that job, they told you the job title, then they give you a document to explain that job. They give you a supervisor for that job. But even with all those in place, you are not delivering. How will you deliver when you are the engine of the business? So for me, my rule is if you are not performing, you will know when you need to resign, when you are a good performer. He will encourage you, say, the way you are doing this, you need to start a franchise. He will know. When focus? When do we focus? Again, objective. Go back to your objective. The reason you are trying everything else is because everything is in front of you. You have no focus, you have no objective. The bit that will, when every time you spread yourself, you'll never earn much. The earlier you focus, the better. Actually, why you are not going far is because you are just trying everything else. Focus. When I started out in my earlier years, I was almost doing all businesses because I have, in the home, we have a business arm, the wife. So we are doing almost all businesses. We are into rentals, we are into cars, we are into borders, we are into money lending, we had a circle for the village. We did everything. I can tell you, I had a boss at Stanbic who had 100 borders in town. So because he was doing that, I also said, let me do that. Because you're seeing this one doing, you're not focused, you also do. Yeah, I bought just 3. 100 borders, they were banking 7 million every Friday. Yeah, I bought 3. I don't think I even got 70,000 in a week. I was everywhere. And as time went on, we started focusing, and that's how I got to understand that my strong suit is in the employment side, is in the business side. And this is how it complemented. In COVID, we are now focused on 3 areas: real estate, education, and transport. In COVID, they closed schools 1 month after we had opened. That was our, you know, when you begin 2020 and this is my year. During the overnight, when you put up your hand as if you are being asked for an answer. This is my year, and we have declared. And indeed, when we ran all the numbers, we are going to break even. 1 month into that term, they closed the school. We had 15 teachers to take care of. They closed the school. As if it wasn't enough, they stopped cars from moving. Now, what we had put in Uber businesses, now we are bribing traffic officers to help us get the cars back into the compound. They were all back in there. Something, I don't know, I'm still looking for this, but the tenants came and told us that the president said no more paying rent. Now we are focused in 3 areas, all of them, and they are ticked off. We are getting into those years of wearing shorts and money comes in. And all of a sudden, COVID takes them away. I continued paying my teachers for 18 months, 33%. But where? Every 21st I was paying, I would split some of my money and pay them. Now, you see how this employment was running that? Last year, we bought using a loan through employment. I got a salary loan. We bought into one of those businesses that were strained by COVID, and we took them for peanuts. So ladies and gentlemen, structure yourselves. My name is Moa Apollo. I'm here as NSSF. I have a team. Claire, that young lady there, she's a bit dark, you can't see, but she's there. And Jackie there. Jackie, we call her Mama Savings, Mama Compounding. She will tell you all about the savings. But why are we interested in this as NSSF? I'm saying this because I need to run away. We are interested in this because for us we are where money comes. Money comes to us and we pay people money. And we check on them 2 years later, they don't have money. Yet they have taken the biggest check from us. So we know that happens to them, not because we paid them when they were 55, but because when they were 23, they started getting money and they started losing money. They get a salary, they lose the salary. They get a salary every month. So when they get their NSSF finally, the same thing happens. Building your financial habits is a daily thing, and you need to start now. Quit those things that it is too small. That too small that you think is, I'm being paid nothing. Run away from it. Go away. Stop. Don't get that. Don't get paid. But you know it means something. So start saving. So as an SSF, you can actually save on your own. You entrepreneurs. You entrepreneurs. You are entrepreneurs and you never think about your retirement. Kindly talk to Claire about that. Why am I even pleading with you? Time will tell. Let me say this. I respect entrepreneurs. But there is something that is lacking in our entrepreneurs right now. And I want to define, there are entrepreneurs, those who have created jobs, and then there are job owners, those who are self-employed. What you are owning is your job. You are not an entrepreneur. But because you are CEO of your company, you are the biggest person, you actually never listen to anyone. The beautiful thing about employment, and Barbara will tell you, is we get abused. I mean, I leave my children at home. The maid, while I'm getting out, she's kneeling down and giving me shoes. Then I reach and my boss blasts me. I am a big man and the man humbles me. As an entrepreneur, we have not gone through that. And that gets us a big-headedness mentality. So you never actually get to listen to anyone. Even when your money is speaking that I will not do this, I will not bring you profit, you still insist and put it there. That's why we have so many entrepreneurs, so little success. Entrepreneurs, change your mind and understand that we are working as partners. Start partnering. Start getting accountability partners. The gentleman talked about it. Start identifying who is that person who can send you for airtime. Like when you come into the room, you are the smallest. You are all CEOs, but when you hear saying, I am the CEO here, because you know your thing is small. So be in that room where your thing is small.
Thank you so much, Apollo. Thank you so much. For purposes of time, I'm going to ask Barbara to hint on what she has just for 2 minutes, and then we will take the second batch of questions, and then that's what Alan will answer. Because Apollo has talked about most of the stuff and we're running out of time. But before that, vehicle owners UBK992N and UBM383D, you're blocking someone that would like to get out. Kindly go to your parking, move your vehicles so that they can leave. UBK992N and UBM383D.
I'm going to tackle from a woman perspective and relationships with money. I was given 2 minutes. I'll try and fill that 2 minutes. I got married at 35. Okay? I'm 43 years old. I'm a victim of abuse from my past relationship. Okay? I was 26 years. And at that time, I was with a man who wanted a woman who stayed home and not working. And he brings in the money. He's my best friend right now. It's like nothing ever happened really, you know? But that happened then. And then I chose for the longest time not to get married. Why? Because I thought a man defined my being who I was. So I decided to keep away for some time. Until actually I learned, and he has explained it very well, that a partner is actually like your business partner. Your relationship partner is your business partner or your accountability partner. Let me tell you something, love will only come if you add value to my life. And that's how women think about it. Mentally, if you add value, not buying me the latest Land Rover, it's nice. I'm not condoning it. But that doesn't show me how we are going to grow together. And I really like his story because his story really depicts that. What is happening today is we are getting married on a whiff. She's hot, I'm tickled, this guy, we need to get married. Or you're born again, because you can't have sex, you need to get married immediately. Then you forget that the principles of marriage and the principles of money are aligned. Even in the Bible, a good woman, I think in Proverbs, he who finds a good wife, does what? So what I can say there, I am married right now, as I mentioned. My husband is my accountability partner. Okay? He's a businessman. I'm employed. When the business is low, who's manning the home? I am. We are accountability partners. We help each other in the growth of our lives. And we have a goal of what we want to be as a unit. The way you would work in an organization or when you would own your own business. Love is a feeling. It will come and it will what? Go away. So if, and I will, ladies, I'm going to stress this and stress this very strongly. You need to know where you stand financially as yourself. If you're not comfortable with your financial situation, how are you going to be comfortable with the financial situation of the unit when you have a boyfriend or a husband? That is when you will start to have, what are they called? Expectations of what you require him to give you. The journey starts with us. By the time my husband married me, I never changed my name. My name is Barbara Kasekende, but I'm married to Wachigozi. Because Barbara Kasekende is my brand. And I married a man who understood my brand. He knows that my brand brings in what? Money. So what kind of man are you mixing and mingling with? If you have difficulty talking about financials, I assure you, I don't care how good the sex is, that marriage is going to waste. Am I wrong? Those who have been in that situation. So I just need you to think about this. Your partner is your accountability partner. They're supposed to walk with you as you grow. You are supposed to walk with them as you grow. You are accountable to each other's growth, and you must share the same values, both from an emotional, physical, spiritual, financial perspective. If you don't, please drop. I don't care how gorgeous they are. By the way, with women, our beauty will disappear. Okay? But what is that one thing that is going to be left behind? That is just what I wanted to tell the ladies as we're ending.
Thank you so much, Barbara. Let me have someone help me move the mic. We take the second batch of questions. Guys, please keep your questions half a minute. Please. I'm only going to take 6 questions.
Thank you very much. I also actually have a comment. I want to add on something. Dear Gen Z, you guys have a tendency of admiring people's statuses. Because this, my friend, maybe change his name. He's always out. That you admire and you also want to do that. That affects your savings and that affects your financial habits, so you should stop. Actually, the hack I do, I just mute people's statuses. Not to view, not to admire, save my money, and with time, I believe I'll be independent. Thank you.
Hello, good evening. My name is Terence Samson. I'm lucky to at least have known Mr. Alan for some time, and I look up to him. So I do development economics and I run an organization called All for a Boy Child. So in all this, me, Barbara and Alan, I'm requesting what can, recently when after COVID, all statistics were talking about how many girls have dropped out of school, what can be done to bring back those girls that have dropped out of school, all that. The talk is about a girl child. What is it in finance? Or how can you include a boy child in that financial talk? Because if a boy child is not okay, I don't think a girl child is doing well as well. So that is one point. Then another thing is, Mr. Alan, you're talking about starting in 2011. The situation then in 2011 is not the same as the situation now in 2023. If maybe you started with, let me say, 1 million, the value of 1 million then is totally different with the value of 1 million now. How do you educate us about us learning from the lessons you took or the steps you took in 2011, but you embed them or you include them in the situation of 2023 now? Thank you.
Any other questions? No one else with a question? Okay, let's have that and then we'll close the session.
Oh, okay. So, Samson, good to see you. The questions are valid. One thing I was talking about with a certain group of people, that, what it says is that in 2011, the situation was much different than it is today, isn't it? Guess what? In 2025, it will be worse than it is today. There is no single year I have seen in business that is easier than the previous year. Every single year seems to be harder. It seems like you're just climbing it's like you're climbing on a ladder, and every time. So the more you get used in that trajectory, the easier it becomes, right? Guess what? Because inflation is going up, isn't it? Every year you're going to keep having the currency continues to lose value every year. Now, the easier, the more we get into the principles. That's why the principles are the only ones that are constant. Not so. It's the principle that is consistent, not anything else. Everything else is not consistent. So one thing I want to tell you is that, yes, in 2011 it was different, but what is not different is the principle. What has not changed? Again, I was fortunate enough to start with, after university, I tell you, I drank all the money I had. I had savings of 5 million, I drank all of them in 1 month. I had to go back and borrow 2 million shillings. Now, even then, 2 million shillings was not what I wanted. I was looking for 20 million. Do you understand? However, what I was able to get was 2 million shillings. Now, it was not enough. Do you understand? One thing that, there was a quote that someone once made, that it's what we make out of what we have that separates one individual from another. You see, there are people who are today are not able to even get the 2 million I was able to get there. But they have to start. You start with what you have, not what you are given. That's what separates you from another. She started by being, what she had was being a gate pass. Do you understand? She was a gatekeeper there while she was abroad. She was cleaning people's things. Those are the opportunities that are present. So the opportunity that is present at the time is where you start. It is always better than just sitting back and waiting. What do you have? That's what separates you from the other. Another person will have 10,000 today. That's what he will start with. You start, if it is selling newspapers, if it is riding a boda, if it is being a conductor, that's the opportunity that is getting you to start the journey to your financial freedom. I hope I'm clear on that. It is not the money. Because, in fact, the smaller the money, the better for you. The more money you have, the more money you will burn. Because everybody starts from burning money, if it is in terms of business. The other thing I wanted to talk to Bibi, since he's a colleague of mine at work, I always talk about the quadrants. Now, there is employee, self-employee, business owner, investor. Not so? Now, majority of the people, majority of us are on the left side of the quadrant that I talked about. Employee and self-employed. Are we together? That's what he talked about. When you're self-employed, you own a job. Not so? You own a job, but you don't own a business. You're not an entrepreneur. When you're a business owner, you own a business system. You own a system. Do you understand? In other words, you do not really need to work. The system is there generating, is working. When you're an investor, now, not everybody can become a business owner. Now, most people get stuck at self-employed. Are we together? Because they own a job. Basically, the minute you fall sick, the business is gone. When you die, the business dies. That's what self-employed means. Self-employed. You understand? Now, that's where all micromanagement, lack of business systems, everything is on you as the CEO, right? Now, that's where majority of us start. But we must move towards the right side of the quadrant, which is business owner, okay? Now, business owner is where you have systems, you've got maybe shareholders, maybe, you've got a system that is working. In other words, even if you fall sick, the business is continuing to run normally. Or you can hire another CEO. Now, investor, everybody, not everyone is called to be a business owner, right? But everybody has got a shot at being an investor. Are we together? I want you to understand the difference. Now, this should be able to help you know at which point do I make, because you may say that you're making the move to come from employment, but you're moving to self-employment. It's the same thing. There is no difference. The idea for all of us is to get out of the rat race and move to the right side, which is business owner and investor. Are we together? So do not take pride in the fact that you've left the job, you've gone to start, you're still on the left side. Everything is, actually it's probably worse for you when you get out of employment to get into business. I can tell you. Okay? Because once you get into self-employment, everything now is on you. There is no structure, there is no support system, there is no accountability. Do you understand? So it is a heavier load to carry. That's why it is below employee. Because you're carrying a much heavier load than the other one. But everybody can become an investor. At any stage of life, even a 2-year-old can start by being an investor. Do you understand? Why? Because all you need, put your money in UAP, put your money on the stock exchange, put your money in a bond. You're an investor. You wait for a return. You wait for your interest to be paid to you. Do you understand? You don't need to work to make money. I hope I've made that clear. Thank you.
I think as we close, this has been a lot of talking, so that the real party can begin, like getting to know each other. I just wanted to speak to Mr. Lubowa very fast. Someone told me a lot of us tend to be a jack of all trades, but a master of what? A master of none. And I have invested a lot of money, and I've lost close to 100 million, because I was one of those people when a Ponzi came up, when something came up, I was there. And I lost so much money because of that. Then I realized, until I focus where actually I have a talent that I can expose and monetize, that is when I actually started making money. Just to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I don't make money from my job. I use my job as a platform to promote what I do. I use my job to reach out to more youth and young women, okay? So my salary, it is nice to have, but the real money I'm making is from my businesses, of which actually I invest in businesses more than anything else, okay? That's where the real money comes in. So I would really, really ask, if you take anything away from here, what value do you want to add to this universe before you go? The value that you want to add, that is where your wealth will come from, your value. So if you are to die today, what will be put or what will people say about you? I need to make sure by the time I leave this universe, I have impacted many young women and many young people to ensure that they are, from point A to point B, they've done something to better their lives and they've bettered the lives of other people. That's the impact I want to leave, and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. But we did everything. Man, I planted upland rice, manyabichi, vanilla, manya moringa. You remember those things? I was there. Everywhere I was there, you see? But until I realized where my actually God-given talent is, and that is what I'm really using. So my job is a platform. Indeed, it's not a job, it's my work. And it speaks to my purpose that I said originally. So let's not be a jack of all trades, because we'll be a master of none when we are not what? When we are not focused. One thing I also want us to think about, guys, every 10 years, there's a huge shift. They call it a generational shift. If you're in business, even it doesn't matter whether you're saving or whatever it is, if you don't follow the trend every 10 years, you'll be left behind. So yes, 2011 is not going to be the same as 2021. I think we see what happened. And then we got into COVID and so on and so forth. The world will always change. But another thing you should take away, the principles remain the same. Your character, your attitude, your networks. I mean, all those things don't change. Those things don't have money to them. They are things that have to start with you. So as I know we are closing this, and we could have so many talks around this, I would like us to think about the fact that as we are on this journey, as they call it financial literacy, but it could be all kinds of money matters or whatever it is, let's think about the value we are adding. Are we actually using the talent we are using for the right purpose? If you're the kind of person that enjoys talking, like me who was beaten in school, are you actually using it, for example? Because if we're talking about that income that he talked about, that income that you get, which is that unexpected income, like this weekend, I'm earning an extra 3 or 4 million, just joking. You understand? But that one I don't touch. It's going in my savings account. Yes, my talks, because actually my talks I charge in dollars, between 1,000 and 1,500. This one I do it because, well, you know, I am an advisory chair, so this is for free. But that is my God-given what? Talent. Okay? Then I have my job, where I earn a salary. Okay? And that salary does what it does best. So ladies and gentlemen, what value do you want to leave behind? Because that value defines your wealth.
Wow, thank you so much, our panelists. We've really learned a lot, and this has been such an amazing session. Thank you for making time to share with us. We really appreciate you. The next segment, we're going to have a brief word from representatives from our partners, starting with Mr. Francis Du from Goldmine Finance.